Hello, my name is Bob Ganzak, and this is Motivation U, the podcast. Good morning. Welcome to Motivation U, the podcast, coming to you live, well, from a lot of different places. The only individual that is at our origination place is the gentleman that's not on camera, and that is Zach. Zach is our producer, extraordinaire, wonderful young man, just an incredible human. And he is coming to you live behind the scenes at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in beautiful Gainesville, Florida, right at Celebration Point. Just an amazing place. I have a couple of gift certificates that I want to go use. Plus, I just want to go there and have some of those shrimp and grits again. I mean, incredible food. The desserts are like to die for. To die for. Andrew and his staff, the service, the food, the ambiance. Josh Vaughn, our friend who his cleaning service does all of the work there, keeps it shiny and perfect. And Josh also is a graduate of the Dale Carnegie course and the highest award of achievement winner in his class. So a lot of great things going on. Can hardly wait to get back to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And I haven't been up. Guys, we're going to have a meeting. All right. We're going to go up to Visors, the rooftop bar, and we're going to have ourselves a meeting up there. All right. And maybe if we can get Zach to do something remotely, we could actually do the podcast from up there sometime, sitting right out under the beautiful sun and the roof that closes if we're having some bad weather. Absolutely awesome place. Welcome, Jimmy. Welcome, Matt. I'm excited about this because we get to talk about Dale Carnegie training here for the next hour. Yet I want to talk to you about it from a different standpoint. Now that both of you are working within the company and the organization, I want to discuss how you see leadership and the things that we see in the classes and what it's just like to work for a company like DCNA that is the distinct leader in our genre of life. 111 years of making huge changes in companies and corporations and businesses and people and their lives and their families and the things they do. Let's just have an open discussion about that. So, first of all, welcome, Matthew. Matt
Good
Thompson.
morning.
Matt handles, our Tallahassee office, Valdosta, Lake City, does a lot of work in Gainesville, Live Oak, incredible. So welcome to the team and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Yeah, some beautiful, beautiful areas I get to travel in every week. I love it.
Yeah. And you're coming to us live today from
Valdosta.
right in my hometown, Valdosta,
Absolutely.
Georgia. Yeah.
Absolutely.
On the other side, we have Jimmy Casello. Jimmy has been with us since July. I like to say, Jimmy, that you've been with us since you and I did the program up in Douglas at Southwire, in Douglas, Georgia, which was like 2019, 18, someplace in there.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, I remember that time very well. And you're coming to us live from beautiful downtown Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Bob. Excited to be here once again.
So we have a lot of programs coming up. We have one going on right now in Jacksonville. What do we have coming up within our territory in the next month and a half, guys. Let's talk about that, and then a little bit about the details about what those programs are about. Let's start with you, Matt. What do we have coming up in your territory in the next month?
So in Valdosta, we're setting up a class, Dale Carnegie course, September 25th. It's going to be at the brand new La Quinta. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. I was over there yesterday looking. It's going to be very comfortable. I'm excited because when you go in and you start talking about Dale Carnegie, you never are met with that deer in the headlights look. Everybody has heard about it in some capacity or another. So it's warm, it's welcoming. People are ready to talk. Sometimes the meetings go a little longer than you expect because you just have so much great conversation. So I'm excited for this class on the 25th.
And that's exit 22 off of I-75, easy to get to if you live in Adel, Hahira, Tifton, Lake Park, even Madison, Florida. For our friends down at Nestle Waters, who we've done a lot of work with before. So all the way up and down I-75, very simple to get to. You just get off. It's on the what would that be? That would be the west side of I-75, right at exit 22. Simple to get to, and looking forward to that. And that starts when?
The 25th. It'll be Monday nights. The 25th at 6 p.m. is when it'll start, 6 to 9:30.
September
25th. Yes.
Awesome. Wonderful. Looking forward to that. And they can, we'll give them all the registration information after we hear from Jimmy. And Jimmy, what do we have going on in your area? We have quite a few things going on in Jacksonville.
We do, Bob. Exciting stuff. We'll start with the class that's going on right now. We have session 3 tonight, session 3 out of 8, the Dale Carnegie course, which we hold just on the south side of Jacksonville, right off of Phillips Highway there, convenient location. And we have a group of people that are extremely committed to personal growth and self-development. And we saw that in the first 2 sessions. And, it's a bunch of people that want to be there and genuinely want to grow. So we're really seeing some early strides, which will allow us to really maximize their potential as individuals. And, it's people that are coming together as a group as well. So there is a strong team atmosphere there, which is great. Everybody encouraging each other, rooting each other on. We're hearing some really, really good talks and stories. So some serious growth that's going to happen there within that. And then also looking forward, we have a leadership training for managers program, which is a 7-week course, which starts on Monday, September the 11th, same location, same time after work hours. And these are people that are aspiring leaders, aspiring managers, I should say. They might be in an assistant manager role currently. They might be they might be in a management role, or they might be somebody who down the line wants to lead and manage a process in a group impactfully.
Mm-hmm.
That starts on Monday, September the 11th. And the last one we have here on the horizon, which is probably one of the most impactful experiences you can have, is our high impact presentations program, which is a 2-day program, begins on September the 14th, 9-hour days, September 14th and 15th at a hotel conference room here in Jacksonville. And spots are filling up there as well. And it's really for people that are looking to energize and have effective communication and get their point across, whether it's from a sales standpoint, a leadership standpoint, or really just a personal development standpoint.
That high impact presentations, that's such a, like you said, it's such a valuable tool and it's so needed today. And there are only 14 seats in that program. It's right. Very intense. It's we want to fill that up. So please, go to jacksonville.dalecarnegie.com, jacksonville.dalecarnegie.com to sign up for any of those programs. Just click on find a course and then you just can scroll through and find that the one that you're looking for. And back to that HIP, using acronyms here, back to the high impact presentation. We market that as executive presence. If for those individuals who are already leaders, you may have been in your profession for 30, 40, 50 years, but you have that desire to take it up another notch, never satisfied, never wanting to rest on your laurels, and you want to take it up a notch. That is the program that you want to go to. We have a gentleman by the name of Robert Kelly coming up from Miami to be our instructor for that program. You work with 2 actual Dale Carnegie trainers within the same facility. And it's just an amazing transformation over those 2 days. I always like to look at that first talk that people give as a baseline, and then look at their last talk and just see the difference in the confidence and the chemistry that they have with themselves to get their message out. Just absolutely incredible. So that's a huge thing right there. And if you're not an executive and you're trying to improve your resume, improve your style, improve who you are as far as a presenter or a communicator, sign up. I mean, that is something that's going to, we're in a competitive world. We keep on hearing that people don't want to work. Well, there's a lot of people that do want to work. We tend to have that negativity bias where we talk about only the negative things. Well, there are a lot of people out there in that growth mindset that do want to work and are out there in the marketplace. And if you want to put yourself above the other person who might have a similar resume as yours, that other person that you're working line within an organization that maybe is in the same level of management or supervisory role, and you want to distinguish yourself from those other individuals, click on that button, go sign up for that class, because this is the tool that's going to take you there. Absolutely. I don't like the class at all, as you can tell. It is just something that takes you to outside of where you are and just drills home your confidence and just makes you grow. As far as the LTM is concerned, the leadership training for managers, that too is a great program. I mean, there are so many, from time management to how to have those tough one-on-ones with a subordinate that is not towing the line, how to conduct a green light meeting, how to conduct a red light meeting, how innovation, process, people, leadership, managing, all of that thrown into one cauldron of a 7-week program, that when you come out of that, you're going, wow, I wish I would have known that 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So we have some great programs, and of course the Dale Carnegie course, which we all love. We have some great programs going on. Guys, what is it like? Because both of you do this. You are both graduates of the Dale Carnegie course, and now you're graduate assistants, and now you're working within the company. What is it like from this new perspective to see what's going on in the room?
Go ahead,
So
man.
what I love, every class that we go to, I talk about being a graduate assistant, and that I love sitting in the back of the room, because that first night, it's just a group of people, right? 20, 25 people but by that third, fourth, and fifth session, the room gets smaller and smaller, and it gets tighter and tighter. And you notice it when they come in. Bob, I think about one of the 3-day classes that you and I did. We, the first day, it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday, the young lady working behind the counter at the hotel that we were using the conference room, asked me if it was the same group that was there on Monday. And I said, yeah, why? She says, well, Monday, when you guys broke for lunch, everybody just scattered. Wednesday, when you broke for lunch, there were a couple little groups. She says, today, when you broke for lunch, they all stayed here and laughed and talked. So I didn't know if this was a different group. I said, well, actually, it is. It's the same people, but a different group altogether. That is what I love about Dale Carnegie and the Dale Carnegie course, that core course that just gives you that ability to create those connections with people.
And you know, part of that, and I want to drill down into that a little bit too, and get your input too, Jimmy, of what Matt said. Part of that is that you're going to have a bonding with a group of people that you go through something, no matter what you're going through. If it's, you know, they talk about some of the tragedies that people have had and how they've stayed connected, and they live from all over the world, but they stay connected. The difference that I see in this is, yes, that class is bonding. Those people recognize at the end of those 8 weeks that they now have the tools to bond with anybody, somebody that they've never met, they can connect with. And how do you guys see that? You know, it's not just the class you've bonded with. Yes, forever you guys will be 523 DG in our system, you know, but how do you see that, where these people just open up a whole new world of being able to explore the phenomena of getting to know people?
Yeah. Yeah, Bob, that's a great question. And to answer, you know, what the experience is like as a graduate assistant in these programs and now an employee of the company, it's an experience unlike any other, really. And you know, I had a phone call the other day with one of the current participants, and he asked me, he said, you know, how do I become genuinely interested in other people when I'm not really interested in that. I don't really want to do that. And I said, well, that's the beauty of Dale Carnegie. That's how you grow in this program. So pick somebody out in a work environment, right? Pick a person out that you might not have a relationship with at all, and take that chance and initiate that conversation. That's how you grow here, and see what that does for you. You know, you might have something in common with that person that you would have never dreamed of, and just take that chance and come back next week and talk about it, and how you applied that principle, and how other people can benefit from taking that action. So that is one of the very many powerful aspects of our program at Dale Carnegie. So our job as graduate assistants is encouraging those participants to get out of their comfort zone and do that. And that's how you grow.
You know, I've had graduate assistants, and two great ones here, by the way, these two gentlemen, along with some other people like Doreen and Hartley and Jose, and people that have Laura that have done this for us, and Liz Miller and a lot of other people that love giving back. It's, you know, I've had graduate assistants, and Matt, you've experienced this with me, where, you know, if the class is on Tuesday night, I urge them, highly suggest to them that they start calling the participants Wednesday morning. You know, Jimmy is a guy, the people I'm talking about with Matt, you know, sometimes that I don't want to bother them, you know, or I don't want to, you know, I'm kind of, you know, they just went through a class. I kind of want to wait until Friday or Thursday or the following Monday to, you know, there's always an excuse. Jimmy's the guy I say, the class is on Thursday night. Jimmy, you can't call him when you get home Thursday night. You have got to wait till the next day. You know, give them a chance to go to bed. They're getting home at 10 o'clock. Don't call them at 10:15. It's just, your enthusiasm is just like, like, you know, catchy. So but it's a lot of fun. I mean, those conversations that we have with those students as they're going through that process, you know, is just amazing, you know, because you watch them change as you encourage them, you know. You know, Here's another thing, because both of you have been in the field working with companies and organizations to help them develop these strategic plans to improve their company and their business by improving their number one asset, their people. And that's a big thing that we were discussing just before we came on here. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection, that we work with their offices in Jacksonville. How Greg Strong is such a advocate of training their people. We hear all of the excuses, and people get so creative. They know that there's this carrot out there that they absolutely want, need, and should consume. Yet they let their fear of that process to take them from where they are to take them where they could possibly and where they should possibly be. They let that fear of that gap overwhelm them. How do you combat that when you're working with somebody? Jimmy, I'll start with you this time. How do you combat that when you're working with a client, a customer, a manager, a leader within a company?
Yeah, great question, Bob. And that's something that, when you recognize that in the person, that they are afraid to get out of the comfort zone. I remind them that, they're not alone. Other people have that fear too, like a lot of other people. That could be the main reason why they're in the program in the first place. So I remind them that they're not alone, and you're in the right room. You're in the right program, because that's what we're going to attack. That's what we're going to do our best to improve at and see that growth in that area. So then the next step is, once you've solidified that, is sharing stories with them. It could be personal stories. When I was in your shoes, I had the same issue or the same challenge. And when I learned to really apply or attempt to apply and then really apply these principles and get out of my comfort zone, man, what a feeling that was, right? You let them know what the way you felt and how beneficial that was to your growth and your success. So what a feeling that was. Just give it a shot. And if you have any trouble along the way, you have my number. Give me a call. It might not work the first time, but let's give it a shot. I'm here to encourage you to do that. And let me know how it goes. And get really positive feedback out of that.
Awesome. We're talking with Jimmy Casello, Matt Thompson from Dale Carnegie Training, both performance consultants with our organization. They work out of our Jacksonville office. That Matt kind of works. His hub is basically out of the Tallahassee office, and Jimmy out of the Jacksonville office. And we basically we see things the same way, on that, and everything we do on MotivationU, the podcast, is built around leadership, and we're dealing with leaders all the time. So, what are some of the challenges, and how do you overcome that in your world, Matt?
So, with me right now, I'm dealing with heavy industry a lot. That's really, I come from heavy industry, 20 years in mining, the last 7 in lumber, 2 of the most dangerous industries out there. I'm really trying to get to those safety leaders, to those operational leaders, to those maintenance leaders, that are holding the roles that I used to. I understand and know what their reaction is going to be, because it would have been my reaction. Look, we've done it this way the whole time. It's fine. The world's changing. The world's always going to change. What I tell them is that this is a way for you to get ahead of that. If you go and you ask the leadership of most of these heavy industries, they're going to tell you that their issue is finding people and getting the right talent and all of these things. If you go ask the workers, their number one issue is going to be communications. Talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. That there's this gap I've heard before to where it's like, oh yeah, I see my boss. He drives around here like a police officer telling me everything we're doing wrong. You know, the bosses think that they're communicating well. That's what the workers hear. We fill that gap. You know, the Dale Carnegie course, and it teaches you how to relate to people as people. We forget sometimes people are not positions, whether it's the CEO all the way down to the janitorial staff. They're people, not positions. So we have to deal with them as people. So right now I'm hitting heavy industry hard because I know that there needs to be that connection. The safety side of it. The more we see people as people, the safer they're going to be. Because then that worker is not just thinking, I'm going to get in trouble for doing this. That worker's thinking, if I do this, I could hurt myself or somebody around me, somebody that I care for, that I love, that I want to work with. So that's what we do. That's how I tackle it.
Cool.
I bring the veil, you know, I open that veil and say, hey, look, these are people that you're hiring, not numbers, not positions.
You know, good point there that titles don't make a leader. Leaders don't need titles. You know, that's a huge thought process there. You know, that's just because you have 3 letters next to yours and it starts with a C, it doesn't make you a great leader. Just says you're fortuitous to be in that position right now. One of the things that I see is that in the clients that I've worked with and when I'm in the room training and instructing people is that they want culture change. They want engagement. They want this different way that their company interacts with each other. They're trying to shore up challenges as far as, you know, gossip and negative talk and all of those other components that make up a negative culture, and they don't know how to find it. And they're using the same methodology in many cases that they've used to get into that problem. And we all know that what got you into the problem is not necessarily the way to get out of it. You know, that you have got to shift that thinking to a different way of life, and that's what we offer. You know, it's you know, how do I get there? Well, you get there with this program right here. You know, that's what'll take you there. And sometimes it's just that leader finds out that there's a component of public speaking within the program, and they're afraid that they may be asked to do it themselves, so they push it away. You know, we got 3 minutes before we take a break here. Talk to me about the certification process that you guys are going through right now in your training for working with customers. That stuff you're doing with Aaron Kent. 2 minutes, one of you. 2 minute talk. Go.
Yeah, Bob. Bob. Once again, it's you know, Dale Carnegie based, so of course the principles come into play. And with what we do, you know, this program, the sales mastery program, we are encouraged to demonstrate those principles with what we do. And you know, it never stops, which is, you know, human nature never changes. So calling people, you know, no matter how busy their lives are, you know, we have this program that will help them, you know, will help alleviate the issues or the challenges that they have. So us knowing that and having the confidence in our program, which we absolutely have, that allows us to convey to our caller, whoever we're calling, you know, whether it's a C-level boss, an HR manager, any kind of team leader, an individual, you know, this has opened our eyes to different ways to convey our product and how it can help solve their challenges. So it's a powerful program, and we're learning a lot about different types of approaches to our networks and our market.
I'll pick up your opinion when we come back from the break. We're coming to you live from all over Florida and Georgia and different places. Yet the core of where we come from is Celebration Point in Gainesville, and more specifically inside the coaches podcast room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And we will be back right after this.
Attention all Gator fans, Meldon Law is giving away a chance to experience the Florida-Georgia game like never before. 2-night stay at the Hilton on the River, dinner at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, 2 premium tickets to the game, and a football signed by Coach Billy Napier, and much more. Go to the Meldon Law Facebook page and look for the VIP experience for 2. Good luck and go Gators!
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Looking for more reasons to celebrate? We have them here at Celebration Point. Enjoy some of the newest additions to our already celebratory lineup, like Dave & Buster's, Les Macarons, and Prime and Pearl. There's always a reason to celebrate. Join us anytime for any occasion. Celebration Point, where Gators come to celebrate.
Welcome back to MotivationU, the podcast. My name is Bob Ganzak. Today, my guests are Jimmy Casello, Dale Carnegie Training of Jacksonville, and Matt Thompson, Dale Carnegie Training of Jacksonville and Tallahassee. So we kind of all together in this. One of the things, Jimmy, you mentioned just before we went to break, we were talking about, our own training and what the two of you are going through. And in a moment, Matt, I want to get your input on how you see your training right now. That is one thing I love about Dale Carnegie. And since I got involved as a person on staff back in 2009, something that I've always loved is how we train our own team. It's not like, yes, we sell solutions to the challenges that companies have within their organization, be it personality challenges, be it presentation challenges, as you mentioned, communication, building people's confidence, the leadership skills that they get, the ability to manage stress and worry, just the human interaction. Some people are awkward at that, and we help all of those things improve through our training. Yet we put our money basically where our mouth is, and we train our people constantly, like our instructors. What our instructors go through is just absolutely intense in order to become an instructor. And it's not just like you can become an instructor in a couple of weeks. And I know people get frustrated because they want to be an instructor And we don't have a platform for them to get into that yet, because it is a very strict process. It's an amazing thing. And the other thing that I shouldn't say relish in, but I find kind of interesting and also very flattering, is when you talk to somebody that works into a similar company as ours, say a competitor of ours or somebody that is, kind of like us, and they hear how we go through the process of what we do for our own people, they're like, I want to work for you. Jimmy, I know you've seen that, and Matt, I know you've seen that too. It's just that they like, well, our instructors don't go through that rigorous training, and ours do. We don't train our people all the time. You get a job and then it's up to you. No, you go through a process with us. You are constantly being trained, workshops, webinars, everything. So how are you taking all of that training in, Matt?
So what I love about it is, to me, it doesn't feel like sales training, right? When I first talked about coming on full time, Bob, you and I had a conversation. I've never been in anything structured in the sales world at all. I've been in industry my whole career. So when I go into it, the foundation part that I'm going through is all about building relationships and learning how to build relationships. So it's basically just an extended version of what we already went through with the Dale Carnegie course, right? I love that. I love that it's not about, okay, here's a product, here's a product, here's a product. We have yet to talk about products. It's all solutions, and we can't really tell you all about it because it's based on the client, and you need to get to know the client and what they need before you even know what you can offer them. I love that about it. I love how it's set up. It's easy to follow. The training is never done without some kind of example. So you get to see, hey, look, here's how you use it in the real world. So for somebody like me coming in, that I still don't feel like I'm in sales. I feel like I am offering solutions to people who need them. So I feel like a problem solver more than anything else. And I love that. Mm-hmm. If it was sales, then I would just go out and sell cars or sell houses or do something like that. It's not. It's about the solutions that we're offering people. I gave up a really, really strong career that I built over 25 years because I can help people here. Mm-hmm. I can help people every single day, and not just the one I get in the class, but everybody they're around. So that's what I love about our training.
It's amazing testimony to that, Matt, because we see that in the result of the weeks of training. I spent about 7 years doing a lot of training of 4 different programs at Northrop Grumman, and the people, like what we teach is, we all got this inside of us. Mm-hmm. We only use like 10% of our given talents in any area. And what we help you do is we see that spark and we tap into it and we help you build it and bring it out. So it's not something like we're giving you. It's not like you bought this mouse and here I'm going to give it to you. You have it. We're just helping you bring it out. And when people uncover that and discover that, and they go, wow, I never thought I could do that. That brings tears to my eyes. Mm-hmm. A graduation is emotional, not because it's over. It's just because of the path that has been widened for these people as they go forward in their life. It's like absolutely, special at that time. Just an amazing thing to watch and to be a part of. That's a lot of fun. How about from the leadership side? What do you see as some of the challenges in 2023 of the leaders that we interact with?
Yeah, Bob, that's a great question. one thing that is pretty consistent across the board as far as challenging, the employees, for the most part, a lot of employees feel like they're not being heard by their managers, right? In the leadership in their company. And, in Dale Carnegie, we go by a phrase, a quoted phrase: people support a world they help create. And, and you learn these things in the leadership training for managers program offered by Dale Carnegie, and you touched on it earlier, Bob, green light meetings, right? Having a meeting with your team takes 15 minutes out of your day just to hear your people out, right? What are some ideas, and what ways can we improve in this area? What ideas do we have? And then come back and have that red light meeting where you select as a group what the best ideas are, and you implement that into your game plan. And that way, everybody, the team, two heads are better than one, feel like they're a part of the process. Right. So as leaders, we manage the process and lead people, not manage people. We manage the process and lead people.
Mm-hmm.
So if more leaders would abide by that and implement that into their systems, we wouldn't hear these leadership employee, manager employee challenges as much as we do.
Mm-hmm. Matt, your thoughts?
So what I see a lot of are people who train and work really hard to get a position, but then once they're in the position, really didn't understand what it entailed. The higher you get up in leadership, the more you have to think of your people, because your company is your people. That's it. Products change, markets change, all of that, but it's about your people. What I love about what we do is, especially for leaders, they get the title. Beautiful. That's wonderful. We teach them how to do that job and how to communicate with their people and how to understand. Like we said before, times are changing, but times are always changing, right? Every generation has that next generation coming in. We've got two of them in the workforce now that there's whole classes and segments that are just about how to deal with this one or how to deal with that one. But the truth is, you don't deal with any of them. You treat everybody like people and they'll respond accordingly. All anybody ever wants to be is respected and to be understood. And at Dale Carnegie, we teach leaders how to do that. We teach them how to listen and how to speak in a way that lets people know that they're being heard.
Both. I love that. I love that from both. I wrote down some notes as you guys were both talking. One of the things that, you both mentioned about the meetings, anybody can have a meeting. I mean, everybody does have meetings. And we hear in our classes, when we get to like week 4, and usually at the end of week 3 in the Dale Carnegie program, when we bring up the fact that, have you ever been in a boring meeting? And I mean, if there's 25 people in the room and 4 graduate assistants at the back, I see 29 sets of eyes that just like when I ask that question, it's just like they're rolled. They just, oh my, I can tell you some stories. So everybody has those meetings, and what we help them do is make them impactful for everybody. And it's not necessarily in how to plan a meeting. Sure, in the LTM, leadership training for managers, we talk about agendas and how to organize our thoughts and our meetings. Yet it's more about the way you conduct it, the enthusiasm, what you bring to the table, getting that input from others, facilitating that meeting in a way that people want to contribute and feel that they can contribute and that they're allowed to. And it's not a manipulation. One of the things that, we weave throughout every single program that we do under Mr. Carnegie's name, and I put him on my shoulder because he's always there, on my shoulder, telling me what to do. That's the way I always try to keep that thought process. I want to protect that man's interest. It is, as we go through that, we always talk about honesty, integrity, sincerity, not manipulative. Your thoughts on that? Go ahead, Matt.
Good, Matt.
So I think what we teach is like everything else out there. With the best intentions, they'll get the best results. But there are people who can take some of what we teach and try to manipulate, but it'll never hold because people will see right through that. It's the difference between showing appreciation and just kind of blowing smoke, right? That people understand true appreciation. They know the difference between flattery and appreciation. So what we teach in Dale Carnegie, the gifts that we give people are there for true-hearted people to become better. But somebody who wants to come in there and try to manipulate, that's fine, but they'll be saw through quickly. Even in the course, we've seen a couple people who you can tell through the course, and then by the end of it, you can see the change in them.
Yeah. Jimmy?
Yeah, Matt, brought up some great points. Manipulation and applying the principles genuinely are, two different things. And you learn that pretty fast during the program. People do see right through that, the manipulation. You have the phrase, "Oh, I used this on them. I used this principle on them." And right away, we try to redirect that participant to, you utilize this action, you utilize this principle, not on them. You utilized it in general because you wanted the other person genuinely to benefit, right? You wanted them to benefit. It's like when we give our talks. How will the audience benefit from our talk? Not how can I try to manipulate them into liking me or buying into what I'm selling? It's, it has to be a genuine approach. And that's what the Dale Carnegie principles are all about. So that's our job as graduate assistants, to redirect those participants into applying the principles genuinely. And what did that do for you? Tell us about it. And what will that do for the audience if they take that action?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But Matt, yeah, great point. People see right through it if it's not genuine. So make it genuine.
Right. As graduate assistants, what are some of your, it's easy to talk about the glowing things. What are some of your frustrations that you experience as a graduate assistant? Either one of you.
Good, Matt.
I think that the ones who come in there and sometimes we have the ones that are told that this is what you have to do, right? And it can sometimes get frustrating when you're working with that person and you're trying, and then they're just not engaged at all. You call them, they don't answer. You text, they don't answer. You're trying to talk to them. They're present in the class, but once they get out of the class, it's just like they just drop it. And my way of talking them through that is to tell them that, look, you're going to get out of this what you put into it. If you're coming in here thinking that my boss told me to sit in this seat and you're just going to listen, then we can give you some really great tools and some principles. You've got to do the work. Bob, you and I were having a conversation yesterday about a talk that I had with somebody. I told him that this is not a classroom, it's a lab, right? Mm-hmm. You've got to apply it. We give you the ability to apply it in there with those people. But then when you walk out of here, you can't just shut it at the door. And that's a frustration sometimes when you feel like somebody's doing that, and usually by about the fourth or fifth week, we can bring them in, and get them into understanding that this is about them. We're just giving information. We're giving information in a book that they could go buy, right? But we're giving you the ability to apply it here. Use that. enjoy that, love that. And you do see a change, but that can be frustrating.
Jimmy?
Yeah, and to add to what Matt's talking about, a challenge could be not managing everybody's expectations, right? Not managing expectations properly. So in session 1, day 1, if it was a perfect world, everybody would be at the same level and have the same perception of their own skills. Not the case. So everybody matters in the program. Everybody matters in general, but in the program, it's what they perceive of themselves, their level of leadership qualities, how they see themselves as public speakers, how they see themselves as genuinely nice people, how they see themselves as stress managers. And then really paying attention to that individual, that participant, one person at a time, because they're not on the same level, and we want to see them grow in all those areas, and prioritize them correctly. But we want to see them grow in all those areas. So it's the challenge is managing those expectations of all the participants, and not just as a group. It's everybody's expectations and growth are at different levels. So it's praising those improvements when they happen.
Yeah, it's I remember one situation on the phone, and I've shared this with you, Jimmy, a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Not that I would ever say that we should utilize this process, but I remember one time there was a lady had sent in for information via online and wanted us to contact her. We have a thing that you can do online, contact us, please, meaning call us. So I saw it. I got her number. I called her, and she was absolutely one of the rudest people I ever talked to. I mean, it was like she wanted to hang up. She didn't want to talk to me. It was like, why are you bothering me? All of these other things. And just before we hung up, I said, ma'am, just before we hang up, can I ask you a question? She said, go ahead. And I said, are you trying to make me feel like real bad? She goes, what? I said, are you trying to make me like feel insecure or bad or frustrated or what? Because you're doing a great job of it. And she kind of sat back and she goes, whoa, I'm just busy. No, I was not. I was trying to politely hang up the phone. So, well, that's not the way you're coming off. And that's a huge part of what life is, that Johari window where it talks about your blind spot, and especially with leaders, they have that blind spot. They think that they're doing this, yet they're really doing this. How they see themselves is this way. And you just mentioned that, Jimmy. You said, how do they see themselves? Well, the question is, how do other people see you? Now, you may see it from this standpoint. When you look at the mirror, you know what you're looking at. What do other people look at when they're seeing you? And that's what I love about what we do. We think that we're going down a certain path, yet we're actually on a completely different road than a lot of people around us. And we help you see that and uncover the potential that may be there in the area that you want to improve, and which is an amazing type thing. So tell me about, we've got about 5 minutes before we're done here at MotivationU, the podcast coming to you live basically from Spurrier's Gridiron Grilling, beautiful Celebration Point, Gainesville, Florida. Your experience, Matt, as a student in the Dale Carnegie course.
So
Sum it up in 30 seconds. Make it tough on you. With
I went
enthusiasm and a smile.
so I went to the course. I was the first person that my company sent there to just see what it was about, right? And it was great. I went in there thinking I had read the book, and comes from a weak point, but I'm going to sit and listen to what they have to say. And then I realized the strength it takes to turn the other cheek, so to speak, right? It was when we gave our stress talk that my life changed. I had a talk in mind. I knew what I was going to say. I went up there and I heard myself say that tonight is the 1 year anniversary of my mom's murder. And I felt a crack inside me. It'll never be the same. But then I look over and I saw it in other people's faces, because you were the only one in the room, Bob, that knew that. That night was when I decided that this can help people. This can save lives, because I'd seen a couple other people. But that night was when I decided that this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, is in some way. And then I've been a GA for you, Bob, in every program you've had since then.
Yep.
So Dale Carnegie changed me fundamentally in 2 minutes.
Through one of those processes, Linda Ketterer, who was my instructor back in 1992. Wow, long time ago. Linda Ketterer always told us, don't give the talk you prepared, give the talk you should give. And I've kind of conveyed that. And that night, you didn't give the talk you prepared, you gave the talk you should give. So I appreciate that, Matt. Jimmy, I did not have the blessed honor of being your instructor in any of your programs, although we've been able to work together as a grad assistant. Tell me what your experience in 30, 45 seconds was like going through the Dale Carnegie class.
Yeah. Something I'll never forget. Couldn't have come at a better time. My dad who was a graduate 30 years prior, had encouraged me, which he found out he didn't have to do much encouraging, because once he mentioned stress management and public speaking, I was already in. But I'll never forget, the first class, session 1, walking in there, how to remember people's names, all the instructor and the GAs shaking your hand, looking you in the eye, that presence that they demonstrated, and I knew I was in the right place. And the first session was how to remember names, and then how to become a genuinely nice person, human relations principles, and changed my life forever. Because I always knew and thought that was important, but it's like the most important thing. It's the foundation of our program.
Mm-hmm.
And never forget that. That was 9 years ago, and it changed my life forever. Here I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, gents, I mean, wrapping this all up, one final sentence, Matt, just to wrap it up in your eyes. Give me that impactful slug line that you would want to portray from your experience with Dale Carnegie.
No matter where you are in your career, no matter where you are in your life, we all have things we need to improve. And Dale Carnegie, the Dale Carnegie course, the HIP, the LTM, is a way that you can improve those parts of your life that will make a true impact and difference.
Spoken like a true radio guy, because it was more the explanation, but impactful. And I love that. I love that. Now, headline. So we're going to, now you've got to be the newspaper guy. You only got this brief headline. Give me that impact, Jimmy.
Yeah. Enough holding yourself back. Take a chance. Invest in yourself. It's worth it.
Yep. So combine those two things. It's amazing. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do this with me. I love when the three of us talk about Dale Carnegie and encourage people to get involved. And my bottom line is you're worth it. You are worth it. So many people don't think they're worth. They question their future. You're worth it. Mm-hmm. Coming to you live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. This is Motivation U, the podcast. We'll see you next Thursday.